Well, hello folks, this is LA from TA Today, where we're doing neoclassical technical analysis where we can look at supply and demand, look at it on the charts. So speaking of those charts, today the subject again, uranium, where something big is happening. You've probably already heard about it. It has to do with the National Atomic Company over in Kazakhstan. They came out telling the world, hey, we're not going to be able to produce what we said, 17-20% less cake than you expected. Now, you would expect that that was going to be good for uranium, and as you can see here on the charts, it is. But what it was good for also, which was unexpected, was it was good for the company that's producing even less cake. Now, that's mind blower, right? I mean, if I'm going to have less of something that I sell to make profits, you would think my profits are going to go down. No, they go up because we produce so much and we're going to reduce the supply so much and the demand still is the same. Everything goes up. So all the other miners go up. The cake itself goes up. The stock goes up. That tells you just how bullish things are. So let's start here with this chart. Notice a retest regen where it comes down. It tests into that several times, right? Tries to get under the bottom of the retest regen area. Fails. Volume expands huge, right here, and then all of a sudden, here's the news popping out and it's regenerating. Folks, this is about as bullish as you can get. That's just an amazing turn given the situation on the supply-demand side. Now, I don't think that particular stock is going to be the one that leads all the way up. I think it's going to be elsewhere. Let's go to the general cake itself. Let's go to the U-UN, which is the Sprott Physical Uranium Fund, and see what we see there. Now, the first thing you're going to notice here is this thing's still in a range, right? It hasn't got back outside the range. So it started building out a range until it gets over it, right? We have to assume the range is going to continue to build out over time. So that's the first assumption you have to make. The next thing that you notice technically is that you've got what appears to be so far a bullish engulfing. In other words, you had the lows here, the highs there, and this thing's engulfing the whole thing. That's a very bullish situation when that happens, right? That's bull. That's big bull, actually. So nice volume coming back up. What do you want to see? You want to see it get over the top and stay up there, right, on the weekly. Today's Thursday, so you got one more day. Here's your monthly. Nothing wrong here, folks. This thing just keeps climbing. Had a big spike here on volume, right? And it continues to climb up. What you'd really like to do is to see it, of course, extend. That means it has to get back over the swing point high. So what do you watch? You watch the swing point high. You look at this guy over here and you watch it. You say, hey, can it get up here and get over it and stay over it? If it does, you got something cooking. And it also sets up, when it does, it sets up the retest regen. That retest regen is right there. And so what you want to see is when it gets up here, you want to see it come back in and hold that area and regenerate. Don't want it to close below that low. That tells you, even on this time frame, everything's still cooking. Now the problem, of course, is this is extended. The MTTF's way up there. It should retest and break a swing point low at some point. This is going to print a swing point low next. And so that would be the next place that you would expect a break. At some point, folks, it's going to break a swing point low, but right now it just hasn't done. Everything else is still bullish, not too extended here. And you got one more price point now that has developed. 36.84 is the next target. So if we get the extension, expect it to go up and reach this, probably extend a little bit past it, and then again retest back into it. That's what you have to expect. Now, moving to the miners, the Sprott Physical Miner Uranium Fund, the ETF. You can see here, this is a different story. Now, the miners have not been able, at least not yet, to match the performance that you've seen on the physical itself, but they're getting there and they're trying to play catch up, and that's where you want to be focused. And really, the focus right now is on this swing point high. I'm doing this about, looks like about 3 hours before the close. This is just trading over the swing point high now. If it breaks it, that's going to break on the daily. That's going to push this higher as a bullish. You can see here we're not extended anywhere on the MTTFs. That sets up these potential targets. This 63 would fire You already have a 65 and a 67 on the intermediate and long term. And so these targets are up higher. What you want to see is you want to see this thing break out and hold today or tomorrow. If it doesn't, it's a range. And you have to just respect that it's going to take longer. It built out the range. We were expecting this thing to come back in and close this gap and be a buy. It did. The buy was here. Now you're back at the top of the range. If it can't break out again, it's going to come back and eventually it's going to break out. And so what you want to do if you're doing anything on the trade side is you want to watch and see if this breaks out. If it doesn't, you're going to want to sell up here somewhere to the top. And I'm not talking about everything. I'm talking about 10%, 15% of your portfolio. And you hold it and you buy it back in the bottom end in the range. So you hold it, buy it back somewhere in the lower portion of that range. If you're an investor and you're not playing the wiggles, you just sit. Because so far, this thing looks great. There's nothing wrong with it. And if it plays catch up, still a long way to go, 10, 15% just to hit targets. So that's where we're at on the miners. I like the miner side. I've been liking, as you know, I've been liking the physical. I'm switching my targets now to the other side of the equation, which is the miners, expecting, given what we saw today, expecting them to play catch up. That's it. Stay with this trade, folks. This has got a long way to go. It's going to have wiggles, ebbs, and flows. That's the way it works. You can take advantage of it, or you can just sit there and hold all the way through it. That's dependent on you, your risk profile, and what you're trying to do. Have a great one. Take care. Stay safe. See you next time.